hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm glad to be out here today at the Lawrence County Sheriff Department. And Sheriff, I see you here and there, but I don't think we've actually talked but one time, I think during Law Enforcement Day down in the city of Dublin on the air. We see each other quite a bit, and I see you everywhere. I mean, you're at the ball field and downtown, and I remember during the campaign, you said that you would always be out with the people, and I noticed you listening. Like at the ball game, I see you out there, and you talking to everybody and listening to, maybe their complaints or suggestions or whatever. But you have fulfilled that campaign promise, haven't you?
Yes, sir, and I want to continue to do that. But once I've got into office here as sheriff, there's just so many places that I have to be, and meetings I have to be in to get acquainted with what's all going on within the sheriff department. I've had some of my old friends where I was hanging out politicking. They said, "Well, Sheriff, you hadn't come by." I said, "Fellas, I've got a job to do now."
Yeah.
And we had a lot of positions that come open. Stan Wright is my chief deputy. Chris Bracewell is the next man in charge. Brian Scarborough's over investigations. Brenda Robinson's at the courthouse. We just got a lot going on here, and it's just been really exciting to get out and see the needs of the public, and we're just steady moving forward.
And you bring up a good point. That was another thing you promised during the campaign, that you wouldn't bring outside people in. So every one of those names I know have been with the Lawrence County Sheriff Department for many years.
Yes, sir. I think Stan Wright's been here 31 years. Chris Bracewell's been here about 30. Brian Scarborough, I made captain over the investigations. He's been here about 20 years. Mm-hmm. We got great people out here, and I just got a little bit different management style. I like to reach out to all the staff when we make decisions. We reach out to each other. We talk about things, and we promote within. I've had to hire a few outside people, but I didn't put them in any kind of command staff positions. Mm-hmm. That's a promise that I stuck to, and we actually got a raise. I was able to complete that campaign promise. I got 5% for our men. And we're still reaching out to the community and the commissioners and all. We still need another raise for these men. I understand the city of Dublin is going to be able to get a raise for their people. And to be competitive and keep good people, I've got to get the money there, because the state has got probably over 20% pay raise in the last year or so. And to keep good, responsible men and women, I have to try to get that pay scale up there for them.
Mm-hmm. And Stan Wright being your chief deputy, how did you make that choice? Why did you choose Stan?
Well, he had been here all his life, and I knew Stan kind of on a personal level when I was with DNR. When he was a sergeant on patrol, mm-hmm. We'd be sitting out at night. He'd come back me up on night deer hunting and stuff like that, and just to build a relationship over it. And actually, I think you could tell Stan's the leader. Mm-hmm. And I just figured he'd be the best man for the job. Right, I'm proud of him, and we're making a lot of progress. We haven't. It's hard to get a group of guys to make some changes, but after you've done something 10 or 12 years, people resist change. But basically, everybody's fell in line, and we're getting the job done.
I see either new cars on the road or new paint jobs or decals or whatever. What am I seeing there?
Well, actually, we were spending some splash money. That's the only way the money can be spent. Mm-hmm. We went ahead and tried to replace our cars. We're trying to get them updated. We had a lot of cars out here with 150, 60,000 miles on them. Mm-hmm. And from what we're finding out, we go ahead and trade them on in and get rid of them. We're going to spend the money on either on maintenance or go ahead and spend the money on a new car. Yeah. So we got something dependable.
Yeah. And it seems like police and sheriff are going with the Chargers. Are those good vehicles?
Yes, sir. But sometimes those Chargers are a little expensive on the front ends and all. But right now, from what we're weighing it out, we actually have a system where we keep up with the number of mileage on each car, how much maintenance spent on each car, and we're finding out if we can swap these cars out at a certain mileage, that we'll be better off to go ahead and do that.
And I see a lot of cars on the road in the communities. How hard is that, being Lawrence County is so mass out here? There's just such a wide area. How do you do all that?
Well, it's like I just told the guys, I said, ride your community, stop, meet the people, something that I campaigned on, build a relationship with them. To do away with, like I said, with the drugs or even the crime in the community, your officers, only time a lot of people see the law enforcement officers when they've had a complaint or they've been called to the house. Mm-hmm. I encourage my men to get out there and meet the public, and they'll give you this information. Mm-hmm. I mean, law enforcement, like I said during my campaign, law enforcement is a lot of just passing on of information. And we got a lot of great detectives. We got a lot of great officers. I'm building relationships with the men and the women out here where they're crossing over with their training. The officers, the investigators need something. They're working with the regular patrolmen. Said, hey, we're looking for such and such a car. You know, pay attention to this and doing that. And I'm trying to respond to the different citizens. We've actually went and seen about a neighborhood watch out in the Buckhorn area, Dexter area. We're gonna try to get those back off and running. We've had some issues with bullying in our schools. We're trying to find out what the state law dictate us to do as far as bullying in our schools. We want to be responsible. In other words, anytime there's anything going on to do with bullying or anything in our school, we're trying to figure out at what point law enforcement can take over. Now, from what we've been finding out from reading state law and talking to Dr. Alligood, meeting with social workers, meeting with mental health, there's a certain Privacy Act that goes on, but if law enforcement is needed, we're going to work with the school system and we're going to do our part. When the law's been broken, we're going to try to do our best to put a halt to it.
Yeah, and your hands are tied to a certain degree because of that state law.
Yes, sir. State law, I mean, I can't go out there and put 5th and 6th graders in handcuffs and carry them out. I mean, we can't even go out and question without superintendents being there or their parents being there. But we're going to get a policy, clarified policy between us and the school system when law enforcement needs to step in where we can do our job. We want to take care of the bullying issue that's in our county.
Amen. What about your cooperation with Georgia State Patrol, GBI, with Chief Chapman and Chief Lukey?
Well, I've got a great relationship there, and just last Thursday, last week, we went down here to Glenville to that big law enforcement appreciation dinner, and I carried some of my command staff down there and just some of the regular officers down there, and one of my officers came back and said, man, you know people all over the state. Well, that's what I tell. I said, I've worked for the last 25 years around the state, and I have a lot of contacts. Yeah. And I met friends, sheriffs, GBI, DNR people, just a lot of contacts that I've made over the years, and it helps when you're trying to solve crimes or even get things done, or you need something for your community. If you're trying to reach out to get some grants, you know, actually our congressman was down there, Rick Allen, right. Purdue and all were down there at that thing, and it's just amazing. The Attorney General, he had stopped by here. I've got to know the Attorney General, the new Attorney General for the state of Georgia, and he was asking me what could he do that would make the sheriff's job better here in Georgia, right here in Lawrence County. I said, the best thing you could do since I've been sheriff for 100 days, if you could get me a 30 or 60 or 90-day drug program where it was mandatory, where I could put some of these people in it and they could stay in it, and you could get me a place for some mental health, that when we got people that's got mental health issues, and they don't need to be in my jail. Amen. They need to be in a mental health facility. And that's, as far as doing my job as a sheriff, if I could get me a 90-day drug rehab where it was mandatory, I could help some of these people. And the same with the mental health. If we could get these mental health issues addressed, if we could get some more beds when we got these mental health people, they don't need to be out here in our jail. They need some medical help.
Yeah. And I know being sheriff, criticism comes with the job. On a personal level, how does that affect you when people criticize you, whether it's fair or not fair?
Well, that's just something that you have to adopt to. And I'll tell anybody, yes, your feelings get hurt, but technically, or basically, I've had about 4 or 5 sleepless nights since I've been sheriff. Now, I'm still thinking now, if it gets to the point that I can't rest at all, I've stepped in something. You know, we got a big job here.
That's right.
But basically, I can deal with it because I look at it from a perspective. You know, we're dealing with people. Everything that we do, in every situation, no burglary is the same, no arrest is the same. Everything is different, and you're dealing with people.
Right.
And I'm trying to learn to just to deal with them. You know, like listen to their problems.
Yeah.
A lot of times, what I found out since I become sheriff, 90% of the people want to see me, and I have to pass it off to somebody that's an expert in that area. But once they come in and explain it to me, I know which expert. Now, I'm learning a lot more about the law. Now, I can direct a lot of people in the right direction. A lot of time people just want to come in and know what the law is. They want to know if it's something that's criminally or they're going to have to settle it civilly. So I can direct them to the right courts and which direction to go.
I understand y'all taking the drug dogs in schools recently. How does that come about? How do you make a decision to take dogs in a school?
Well, I was just asked by the Board of Education to, actually Dr. Alligood, to just do a random drug check. And I've actually started a program where I've told my road deputies when they got downtime, to ride out to the schools, walk through the schools. Lunchtime's a great time to go out there. And we've actually just started doing that. I actually have my drug units to walk through the schools, and I want to continue that. So it's all about building that. We got over 180 employees here at the Lawrence County Sheriff Department, and if we can build a relationship with the community, get those young kids out there right on up from elementary, right on up through high school. If you spend time in the schools and get to know them on a personal level, they'll respond to you.
Yep.
And that's what we're trying to do. And I'm like I say, all my uniformed deputies, investigators and all, they're actually going through the schools, and we're trying to do that. We're going to continue to do that.
And I know your faith is very important to you.
Yes, sir.
Knowing you like I do, how much, and I know we prayed together, we believe in the power of prayer, but how much more do you pray now?
Well, it's really a lot more, because me and being a sheriff, I've lost my temper about 2 or 3 times out here, and I turn right around and say, okay, Lord, you helped me get this position. I really feel like that God had his hand in it.
Yeah.
I've got out and worked, but he still had his hand in it, and I just want to make sure that I keep my faith strong, because I believe in the power of prayer and his guidance. And like I say, I've had some 2 or 3 doozies days around here that I just lost.
Yeah.
I say not lost my cool, but I want to handle the situation in a totally different way.
Yeah, that's human nature.
That's just human nature. I mean, and like I say, I'm so much further along now. I'll be honest with you. The first day or 2 I come in out here, I felt intimidated just sitting down in front of those command staff that I knew had 20 and 30 years, and they're sitting here looking at the game warden. Well, what do you know about being sheriff?
Yeah.
Well, today, by listening to the different officers, listen to even the secretaries up here that know the ins and outs of this department, I've gained a lot of knowledge. But I guarantee you, if I stayed sheriff 10, 12 years, the last day you walk out of this job, you'd be learning something else.
Yeah.
Something changes.
Yeah.
You learn something every day. And I'm just trying to, when I make a mistake, I'm trying to learn from my mistakes and move forward.
Yep, that's how we should be. And last thing, now I've got you on video where you said you was going to spend more time with your wife. Now, do I need to play that, or have you done something about it?
I really hadn't done anything about it yet, but
He's honest, isn't he?
I need a few more weeks. I need a few more months
Okay,
to get that out there. And I have taken off. Actually, the other Sunday afternoon, we actually rode around for about 2 hours and just got out in the county. I actually wanted to ride out there to Buckeye, see where they put the new stop sign in. So that was the best way I could spend some time with the wife.
That's a sheriff, isn't it?
I just rode on out there, and I said, hey, I knew I had officers out there stopping the people in that sign, and I said, let's ride to Buckeye.
Oh my goodness. We got to do, Javon, I'm telling you, now I've got 2 videos with you on it. So now I'm going to hold you to it. And I'm going to ask you the same question next time we talk, okay?
Right. Okay, sir.
And you're going to do something about it, right?
I'm going to do better.
Oh my goodness. We heard it right from the horse's mouth. So thank you, Sheriff. Always appreciate you talking.
Anything I can do for y'all, let me know.
I know it, and I do want to make this comment before we take a break and come back with Stan, but I appreciate you always taking my call. You're never too busy to talk with me, and I appreciate you keeping me up to date, and I appreciate what you're doing out in the community. So. And
one thing I am going to tell you, I did run on the campaign that I was going to keep the first sale number that I give to the people of this community. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be able to keep that campaign promise. I can't manage 2 smartphones. So if you need to get a hold of the sheriff, you can call our number out here at the sheriff's office, ask for my secretary. I'll get back with you, but I'm not going to be able to maintain but one phone.
Okay.
I mean, there's just no way possible.
2 smartphones are too smart for you.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
I need to learn one smartphone and when I can take it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you, brother. And we both laid our smartphones, on the sheriff's desk over here so we could actually sit down and do this interview. So
We had to cut them off actually where we could do this interview. But I appreciate the people of Lawrence County that supported me. I will be your sheriff. I know there's some people, there's some people already disappointed about some little things that's happened, but I promise you I'm doing everything in my power as the sheriff of Lawrence County to make this a safer and better community for Lawrence County.
Okay, stay with us. We're going to come back with Larry's chief deputy, Stan Wright. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Chuck Hartwell. I want to say thank you to the community for allowing us to help you in your financial plans. If you're looking for a personal banker to assist you in meeting all your financial needs, then let me invite you to stop by our location on Bellevue Avenue in Dublin. You'll love our location, our services, and especially our people. Community Bank of Dublin-Lawrence County, the bank that's service-built, where common sense banking never goes out of style.
Mid-State Pools and Spas knows pools, in-ground pools to above-ground pools. Mid-State Pools and Spas has over 35 years in the industry, building more than 3,000 pools. Now, we build all our own pools, never subcontracting the work out. So if you're ready to build a pool, renovate a pool, or you need weekly maintenance or liner replacement with a full 20-year warranty, call the professionals at Mid-State Pools and Spas. Visit our showroom today at 2273 Veterans Boulevard in Dublin and see the new line of Marquee Spas. For the ultimate in hot tub experiences, choose Marquee Spas. Also see our new selection of casual patio furniture, available now at our showroom, Mid-State Pools and Spas, where we know pools.
Welcome back, everybody. As promised, I have with me Chief Deputy Stan Wright. Stan, brand new job for you after 30 years on the job. How does it feel being Chief Deputy?
It's a lot different. It's been a big transition for me. I've had a lot to learn. In the past, where I would be over one division, one group of people, I've had to learn that I have to, I guess, spread myself out because I'm over a much larger group. I'm over the entire group now,
Right.
and I try to make sure that I do that evenly, I guess you would say, and just it's been a pretty good transition for me.
Not enough hours in the day, probably.
A lot of times there's not enough hours in the day. That's true.
And I see you everywhere. I was telling Larry that too. It seems like we're at a lot of the same things. I'll put it that way. I see you at luncheons or St. Patrick events or funerals or so many things in the community are really not, I guess they are part of law enforcement, but they're not actually doing law enforcement work, but things you have to do.
That's right. I agree with that. There's so much that goes on, and I consider Dublin and Lawrence County still small town, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am, and I feel like it's a good thing for that. And we go out and we try to be community oriented and compassionate to people when they need us and all that.
You've basically been in law enforcement your whole adult life, because after graduation from West Lawrence, it wasn't long. You began in law enforcement, was it?
I started when I was 21 years
Yeah.
old, and just happenstance, I guess, it kind of fell in my lap. Porter Wood actually hired me. He was
Wow.
chief deputy for Ronnie Rogers, Sheriff Ronnie Rogers at the time, and I started in 1985.
Wow. And what was your first job with the sheriff department?
First job, we were under the courthouse down at the
Yeah.
old jail, and as dispatcher. And when you were dispatcher back then, you were basically a dispatcher / jailer.
Okay.
So-
It wasn't like today we have 911 and have all these people doing certain jobs, but deputies did it all, dispatchers did it all. You did whatever you had to do, but we've come a long way from, I remember that however many few jail cells were in there to right now you've got close to 200 people in the law enforcement center here, don't you?
That's right. That's right. There are more, I guess you would say, you have more divisions, man. You have more specialized type jobs. We are still all deputy sheriffs, and I take pride in saying that.
Yep. And does if you're a deputy sheriff for like Lawrence County, how far reaching are your arrest powers?
We're statewide.
Okay. So if you were on the way to Atlanta and saw a crime or something, somebody zigzagging all over the road and or whatever, you actually can make arrests all over the state.
Yes, we would. The process on that, what I would recommend would be to contact 911 wherever you're at and have someone from that jurisdiction, but you can assist and all that. That's what I would recommend, get somebody from that jurisdiction to actually get involved with what's going on.
You work with 4 or 5 sheriffs, I guess, with Ronnie and Kenny and Bill and now Larry, so different styles, but you seem to stayed right there and stayed the course. And all those are good men. I know them all personally, so you work for some good sheriffs.
That's right.
But I know we all have our idiosyncrasies, and but obviously you're able to adapt with that, and I would think that makes a good investigator, which is the job you just came from.
It is. I actually worked some in investigations in 1989 when Sheriff Webb asked me to go to investigations, and I worked a little bit in investigations then I went back to Patrol Division, where I worked Patrol Division until 1999, and then I went back into the investigations, and then when Captain Clyde Tipton retired, he was captain over investigations at the time. He was my captain. When he retired, then I moved up into his spot.
There's a lot of miles to cover in Lawrence County. We know growing up here, it's a big county. There's a lot of dirt roads, and there's less than when we were growing up, but still, there's a lot of dirt roads in Lawrence County. I'm sure you have to get those vehicles washed quite a bit, those guys on those back roads, but with that, we have a major artery running through here, Interstate 16.
Yes, sir.
How often are we out there? How important is it to patrol that interstate?
We have a traffic unit now that's been with the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office. I say now, they've been with us for quite a few years now. We've actually added another man to it recently, and they stay out there and they work it along with the Georgia State Patrol. That they are out there constantly, pretty much.
Yeah, let's talk about your people, because any organization, our business, your business, you're only as good as your people. And I know we agree on that. We've talked about it, but let's talk about your top command first.
Okay. I think Sheriff Dean has put some good people in positions here that they've got a lot of experience in what they do. Start off with Brenda Robertson. She's the captain now over the courthouse, the civil division, the courthouse, and all that. Chris Bracewell, who is captain over patrol and traffic division now, and under him in those two respective divisions, Lieutenant Justin Shirley is under Captain Bracewell on traffic, on the patrol division, and then Lieutenant Sid Harrison is under Captain Bracewell on traffic. And go from there. Our jail staff is run by Captain Donnella Peacock. Donnella has been in the jail. She's been in the jail here and knows the jail better than anybody here. She knows it back.
Person in there, yeah.
She knows it backwards and forwards. She's captain over the jail now. Brian Scarborough is captain over investigations, and he's another one that came up through the ranks with us. And his lieutenant is Gerald Frazier, and very, very good system there. Captain Russell Shepard is over our warrants division, and trying to think if I'm leaving any division out, and I think I've pretty much covered them.
That's right. And a ball team, baseball, football, whatever, the more kids play together, or pro teams, the more they play together, the better they are. Is it the same in law enforcement?
I believe that it is. I believe that it is. You learn each other, whether you're on a call, whatever you're doing, you learn each other, and you can pretty much read, say, your partner, what he's got on his mind.
That's
because
important.
It really is.
Yeah, that could be life and death.
Yes, sir.
Knowing that. What about the SRT team? Is that still, you still have that team?
We do have that, and been called out a couple of times here lately. Last week we were called to assist Dodge County on a barricaded person that the U.S. Marshal Service was attempting to serve a warrant on, and he was inside a residence there. Dodge County SO got involved, and then our SRT team was called, so went down there, and that ended after probably about 4 hours. Ended peacefully. Good. Arrested the man, and he was taken into custody, and then just a couple of days ago, we were called back to Dodge County, and our team was en route down there to assist the Eastman Police Department with a situation, but that situation was diffused before we ever arrived on scene. So,
and not only that, but training is so important in law enforcement. It's important in any business, but in law enforcement, y'all do a lot of training.
We do. We do a tremendous amount of training, and we try to keep everybody up on everything that they need, that they really need for their jobs and all that, so they will be the best that they can be.
You know, our dear friend Johnny Hall, which was a state patrolman for many years, and dear friend of mine, I know yours, but he told me one time that he knew when he turned on them blue lights whether he had a problem or not. But he always still did his job just how he was trained, regardless of what in his mind he thought, because that's his training. That was his training. Well, and I want to talk about the officer that was killed up in Logan County, up in that area here last week, I guess. But, you know, just went out to, had to evict some people from a home. So it don't matter. We had a sheriff deputy killed in Bibb County several years ago, serving a warrant. So it's not just serving a warrant, just evicting somebody, just a traffic stop, because something could turn bad, especially this day and time. People don't respect law enforcement like when we were growing up, or like we do. So it's not just fill in the blank, is it?
Oh, no, sir. No, it isn't. It's always been, I guess, a common statement, a cliche, if you will, that there's never a routine call. There's never a routine traffic stop. Don't get in that mindset. It's not routine. Always be prepared for anything. Yeah. And that we want everybody to go home safe.
Amen.
When it comes time to shop your home at auto insurance, call Curtis Edwards Insurance and speak to Nancy, Joseph, or Curtis. We'll be glad to work up that quote for you. When someone asks you who covers your cars, you can proudly say, I cover my cars with Curtis. Curtis Edwards Insurance, that is.
This relationship just isn't going to work. We have nothing in common. We're from two separate worlds. You're Mars, I'm Venus.
Okay, I'll convert, I promise.
What if we have kids and our families come to visit? It would be so awkward.
My parents already changed.
Oh, they did?
They made the change months ago, converting from electric to natural gas.
This changes everything. We need to pick a place and a date. Oh, and I need to find a dress. And of course, we'll have to get rid of that electric stove of yours.
Clean, abundant, affordable.
Brought to you by the City of Dublin.
It wasn't just a traffic stop the day Officer Dinkeller made that traffic stop. And I know those were dark days in not only Lawrence County Sheriff Department, but in our community. We hurt as a people. And so, and I'm sure that's fresh on your mind every day, such a young guy and just a wonderful family. I mean, just a wonderful family, but out doing his job, and you run into, basically I'll call it evil. I mean, you run into evil like Andrew Brannon.
That's right. it's vivid in my mind, all those events. And Dink, Kip Brown, I remember I remember where I was at. I remember everything the morning he was killed. It's just something that it stays with you.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about training. That also is a part of training, and not only here, but I know those cases are used throughout the United States in training people. And even though it was a dark day here, it has saved lives.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. And I guess if there is something good to come out of it, that would be it.
Yeah. Massive operation here. You know, people don't realize that ride by, going to Southern Pines, whatever, oh, that's Sheriff's Department, honey, that's Sheriff's Department. But when you walk in these doors, as I do often, in the hustle and the bustle and all the offices and all the, from Sherry out here taking care of all the evidence, and people don't even realize what it takes, just so many hours every week just logging evidence and keeping it where it ought to be till a trial comes up whenever down the road, as we were talking about earlier. It may be 4 or 5 years or longer. So, and the secretaries and the people that dot the I's and cross the T's on the warrants, or things like that, or like you mentioned, Captain Peacock in the jail. Oh my gosh, what a
Big liability.
Man, I'm telling you, I mean, she's got I think this morning is 180 something people back there, plus officers that's under her responsibility, you know. So it's not just a jailer, as we go back to what I was saying a while ago. It's not just a secretary. It takes everybody here. You let one of these secretaries be out tomorrow or Monday, there's a hang up in the system, isn't there?
There's a lot of spokes in the wheel. There's a lot of spokes in the wheel.
And you've probably seen that the last 100 days, I guess, you've been on this job, versus maybe just being an investigator, chief investigator, whatever. But now, like you said, you're over the whole kabang, so you know when that spoke's out, that something, you got to get the spoke back in, don't
That's
you?
right. That's right. We got to keep that wheel rolling.
That's right. But Larry mentioned to me as we were talking before the break that I asked him why he picked you, and he said y'all really got to know each other back when he was a game warden, and he'd call you and need you back up or whatever, and y'all'd end up talking like most law enforcement do. But that was many years ago. But did you ever think during those visits that y'all would both be working together like you are?
Had no idea that it would come down to this, and did not. It's a good thing, though.
Yeah, and that shows you through life, we need those contacts, and that's why, and I can tell by you as we see each other out, neither one of us are afraid to pass the time of day with anybody. You know, we're going to stop and visit, and no matter what we do, you know, down the road when we retired, if we in Kroger, we're going to stop and visit a few minutes, you know. Right. So that's just the kind of people we are, and it's the kind of community we live in, Stan. You know, we live, both of us growing up here, we live in a great community, don't we?
Very good, very good. I don't want to be anywhere else.
Amen, amen. In those 31 years, I think you said you started in October.
I did.
You told me earlier this morning. In those 31 years, what's some of the biggest changes that you've seen, maybe not necessarily at the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department, but in law enforcement?
Technology. Technology's a big thing. You know, when I started, basically what we had was a gun and a flashlight, pretty much. And, you know, it
go to work, boy.
Yes, that's it. So there's been so much technology now with the in-car cameras, and that's a great tool that we have. And so many other different things, the different types of speed detection devices that we have to use, so many advances in the investigations aspect of law enforcement and all that. It's just, there's so much technology that I would say technology is a big thing. Another big thing is, you hit on it a while ago, is, you know, there are great people in this world, but the lack of respect for everybody involved, for people, their property, the lack of respect for the school teachers, law enforcement, mama and daddy is
Amen.
just, it's sad.
Yeah, amen.
It's some moral decay going on.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. It's and you know, and we'll never change. Our generation, we were raised. We respect each other. We take our hat off in the house, or we hold the door for a woman. I mean, people like us would never walk in front of a woman going in the store. We're gonna let her go first. You know,
Amen.
just things that. You know, the Bible's not outdated. Some people say, "Oh, it ain't true as it used to be." It's just true today as it was 2,000 years ago.
And always will be.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Word of God, so some things should not change. But let's go back to your investigator days. I like watching CSI Miami. It ain't like that, is it?
No, sir. It's not like that.
You don't
No,
solve
sir.
it in an hour, do you?
No, sir. If you do,
With commercials,
if you do, you had a very good day.
You know, but people, you get caught up, and I say that jokingly, but you see these shows, the CSIs and the NCISs and the whatever, and you get that mindset that that's law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's life and death, like we talked about a while ago. You don't come back and start on the episode next week. You
Right.
know, if you lose your life, one of these men or women lose their life out here protecting us. And, you know, there's so much criticism of law enforcement now, but yet if I need y'all in the morning at 2 o'clock and I call, you know, or whoever's watching us right here, we want you out there.
That's
but
right.
yet you read things in the paper or you know, these, like I'll mention the Tell It with nobody's name behind it. They want to criticize law enforcement, but yet they'll be the first one to call. Is it hard? And I asked Larry about the criticism, but on a personal level, is it hard when you hear that criticism?
It is. You just kind of have to, you know, turn the other cheek and all that. And I've always said we're kind of like the dentist.
Yeah.
Nobody likes the dentist, and everybody wants to talk about the dentist till
Yeah.
you have a bad toothache.
Oh my goodness, yeah, isn't that the truth?
So that's kind of the way I look at it. But yeah, and then, you know, you have to just stay positive and look at the positive things. There's some people, don't matter what you do, you can't please them.
Yeah.
And you realize that.
And I know your faith's important to you, and when it carries over into an arrest, and I know there's been times when you tried to reach someone, and very well through your years, you probably reached people, and when you see people in the community that you know has turned their life around, how does that make you feel?
Very good. It's very good to know that they've turned around and they've found what they needed, and you can see it in them. So you're like, that's a great thing. There've been times over the years that on domestic cases and things like that, you would be in there, and you know, when you're dealing with things like that, you're kind of you might be wearing a bunch of hats. You're a counselor, you're a deputy sheriff, you're a little bit of everything, you know. And they would be saying, "Oh, we've tried everything. We've tried everything. We don't know what." I said, "Have you talked to your preacher?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, no. I said, "Well, you hadn't tried everything."
That's right. That's right. And you know, people watching us now, hey, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Only by the grace of God, when I was younger, I've never been in jail. Thank the Lord for that. But, you know, we do dumb things in life. But it's never, ever, ever too late until it's too late when we're gone. But it don't matter how old you are. And I know y'all, by your own testimony just then, we love to see that when people turn their life around. And, you know, you see people out, and I know one thing's changed since you were younger. We didn't take drinking and driving as seriously back in when I graduated in the late 70s, you in the early 80s, but it just wasn't taken seriously back then. But I think, and I see there's less traffic stops. You still have them for DUI or drugs or whatever, but I think people, and I'm asking you this, I think people are finally catching on, hey, if I'm going to drink, I'm going to get a driver.
I think so too. And that's been a good thing. Maybe that strong showing of, you know, the intolerance, it created the change in the behavior. And I think so.
Yeah.
Drugs is a terrible thing, and I guess it always will be.
Yep.
It's just going to deal with that. But
And it's destroying our community. It's not, when we were younger, it was marijuana. Now it's this stuff called meth, which I wouldn't know it if I saw it. But what I read about it, and I know you're an expert at it, but it's destroying not only the person, because people that tell me when I talk to people, they say, well, I'm not hurting anybody. Yeah, you're hurting somebody. You're hurting your family. You're hurting your friends.
Yeah.
And you're hurting yourself. Because that drug, and I've heard some of the things they put in it, my gosh, why would you, if you're watching us, put that in your body? So I know drugs are more powerful now, aren't they? And they're doing things that that the average person like me don't understand.
our two biggest problems with drugs now are prescription pain medication abuse and the meth, crystal meth, and heroin is on its way. It appears it's already in our area. Some is making a pretty large impact in the larger cities, maybe up toward Atlanta and things like that. So that's something that we're not looking forward to.
Wow, heroin.
Yes.
That is, you would never think that would be in towns the size of Dublin.
That's the biggest things right now. We're hearing a lot of reports from larger areas that people dropping like flies is killing them because it's a new thing and they really don't know how to administer it to themselves, so they're overdosing on it.
Yeah, I saw in New Hampshire the deaths this past year. Hundreds of people. Their emergency rooms are full of people.
Right.
So that, I didn't understand that. You just answered that. That's what it is. They don't know how to administer it.
They don't know.
They're getting high.
And they OD themselves.
Right, and want to get higher, I guess, and take too much. Wow. So if somebody's watching us now and they know something's going on in their community, they don't want to call 911 because their number might pop up. Is there a way to contact you or the sheriff or y'all, your investigators, without, they want to be anonymous and don't want the trial to come up a year from now and then there's their number, you know, entered into that transcript? Is there a way that I can call you and report to you, I see suspicious behavior, I know they're selling drugs over there at the house, next door, whatever? Is there a way to do that?
Oh, yes, sir. Welcome to call the sheriff's office here. Ask for Sheriff Dean, ask for me, ask for anybody in our drug unit or our investigations division, or anybody here will be glad to talk with you, take the information, and it would remain anonymous. If that's what you want, it would remain anonymous, and we can pass that on and we can investigate it. Now, the other step in that is, you know, today's laws and things like that, some things do not work as fast as what people expect them to. You do have to open investigation. You have to open the investigation and gather your information and all that to make a good, solid arrest. So that takes some time.
You ain't just gonna run out there and
You can't go kick their door in.
knock the door down.
Can't get a phone call and
Come
go
on,
kick a door.
Stan.
Well, we wish we could sometimes, but
That's right. Well, and that's important for us to know because, you know, if I call or someone watching calls, we're looking out the window.
it takes
waiting on
time
you to get there.
It takes time to build a case.
That's right. Well,
a good, solid case.
That's right, and that's what we want.
That's what we want.
That's what we want. Well, Stan, thank you for taking time with me. I know you're busy, and we appreciate the job you do and appreciate what you do for our community, and thank you for always taking time to talk with me.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. I appreciate it.
Okay, brother.
Thank you.
Y'all stay with us. We're going to come back right after this.
Some fun just can't be avoided. That's why there's Smart Strand Carpet by Mohawk. Smart Strand is the only carpet with built-in stain and soil resistance that never washes or wears off. Beautiful, durable, and irresistibly soft, Smart Strand Carpet is rated #1 in customer satisfaction. Go ahead, let the fun in.
See Four Seasons at 201 Hayes Point, Dublin. Call 275-0632.
We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. We have neither the time nor the inclination to explain ourselves to a man who rises and sleeps under the very blanket of the freedom that we provide and then questions the manner in which we provide it. We would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. You don't want the truth, because deep down at places you don't talk about at parties, you want us on that road. You need us on that road. You don't want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
See Dublin Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram today at 2054 US 441 in Dublin. Call 272-3500 or 1-800-GO-DODGE.
Welcome back, everybody. Captain Peacock, we have talked about you and talked about you on the air, and you have officially taken the position since Sheriff Dean's been here, and you are running the jail. And I understand this morning y'all got 180-something inmates back there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how difficult a job is this?
It's very time-consuming. You deal not only with the inmate problems, you deal with the needs of the officers and everything that they need as well. So it keeps us pretty busy.
And, of course, you got family coming in and out, visitation. How often can you visit an inmate?
We do visitation once a week for 20 minutes. We just don't have the space to accommodate really more than one day a week.
And what about phone calls? If you're an inmate here, can you just call somebody anytime? Is there certain times?
Well, as soon as they're brought in and processed, we allow them to make a call, in order to try to make bond or let people know where they're at. And then once they're put in their cells, they have access to a phone that they can call pretty much any time. It's set up through PayTel, and their loved ones or friends can put money on account with them, and it's on a collect call basis.
Okay. Boy, that's really good, because, they may be incarcerated, but the family's paying too, because, you have loved ones, people that care about you and want to talk with you and maybe encourage you,
That's right.
because, hey, people make mistakes sometimes. They
They
are
do.
career criminals, but as you know, doing this job, sometimes even in our own lives, now I'm not saying we've been to jail, but we make mistakes in life.
That's right.
And that don't mean you can't change. So now it's pretty intimidating back there. I had to be fingerprinted last year for my gun permit, and I understand maybe y'all moved that now.
Yes, sir. In order to
Thank you.
try to make the public feel a little better, we purchased a new fingerprint machine last year and was able to set it up out front in order to keep the public from having to go back there. Something about the door slamming
Oh
bothers
my
them.
goodness, man! I was sweating that. I was glad you didn't do a polygraph on me. I would have failed it and didn't have nothing to hide. But yeah, when those doors shut, and not only that, I saw like handcuffs on the floor, bolted to the floor or something, and it's kind of like they say your life flashes in front of you before you die. My life was flashing in front of me, and the people, hey, y'all were super nice. It's nothing to do with that, The guy that took me back, just really, really nice. He was gentle with me and fingerprinted me, but seeing the inmates and seeing what y'all have to deal with, that's really what struck home to me. Is I said, man, these guys and girls back here, that's a tough job.
It can be.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd last too long. You'd probably fire me right away, but it is a tough, you're being humble about it, but I know there are days it has to be tough, don't it?
There are days. The good thing about the job is it's never the same. So, it offers some adventure.
And how long have you been with the Lawrence County Sheriff Department?
21 years.
Wow. And when you started, say that first week or so, what got you to that part? What made you say, I want to be in law enforcement?
Well, I have an uncle who was in State Patrol in Missouri, and that's where I grew up. And then I had made some friends over the years and couldn't decide really what I wanted to do in college. And then the more you talk to people, and I was like, well, I might like that. So just decided to give it a try.
And you've risen through the ranks. Now you're a captain, which is quite an honor in itself. But when Larry tapped you for that, how did it make you feel on a personal level becoming a captain?
It was humbling, you know, for one, and it made me feel good to know that he had enough faith in me to at least let me attempt it on it.
And when I come through here, Captain, I see a lot of teamwork.
Yes, sir.
Behind the scenes as you go through these back walls. But and I mentioned to Stan a while ago, it's kind of like a baseball team or a football team. I think the more you play together or work together in this case, I think the better you are at your jobs, and you gel together, and that's what I see from my vantage point. What do you think about that?
Well, you're absolutely correct. I mean, they do work as a team, and the more they are together, the better they do work. They know what each one's strengths and weaknesses are. But they're also like a family. You know, a lot of the shifts get together and do stuff together outside of work, and you develop that relationship, because we spend a lot of time together out here, maybe more so than you do with your families. So you do get to know each other really well, and when you care about your teammates, that makes your job a little easier.
Yeah, and it is like a family, because you've been doing it over 20 years. You've seen people get married, you've seen their kids be born and to grow up, and you've seen some of them graduate and Little League games and all that. So you do have a vested interest, don't you?
That's right.
Yep.
So it's, you know, we know each other's kids, and especially the ones that, you know, I worked with coming up through the ranks. You know, you do develop that caring aspect for your fellow coworkers.
What would you say to someone watching us now? And let's address females, because you don't see as many females in law enforcement. What would you say to a woman out there that says, you know, I've always wanted to be in law enforcement, but I just can't make the plunge? What would you say to that person?
Well, you have to be dedicated, for one, and thick-skinned with it, and just set a goal towards what you want to do, and just work for it. You know, it's not easy being a female in law enforcement, and you have to earn the respect of the men that you work with. You know, I've always tried to look at it as, I don't want them to look at me as the helpless girl. You know, you got to get in, get your hands dirty, and pull your weight. And all. So it's not always about being as strong, but there's a lot that women can contribute to law enforcement. But you got to be strong-minded and willing to jump in.
Yep.
Not let everybody do it for you.
And walking through here, there's a lot of women that works for the Lawrence County Sheriff Department. So if you took the women out, I don't see how it could succeed. So you've got to have, and you got women not only in your position, but whether it's Jackie or Sherry or these ladies through here that play such an important role behind the scenes. So it's like any organization, I believe. You take the women out, it ain't gonna make it.
Maybe true. It takes all of us, though.
It does.
You know, I don't think one's any better than the other. You know, we all have to have each other to function.
That's right. I knew she'd say that. I mean, I knew, being the team player you are, I knew you'd say that. And Captain, we appreciate what you do, and you've served our community for many years, and you do so many things. But thank you for what you do, and I want to thank you for talking to me today. I know they kind of tricked you. You owe Stan a little payback there. He tricked you coming up here, and then we kind of lassoed you in here. But I really appreciate you talking to me today.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today.
Bye.